Hi, everybody. It's me, Patricia Cori, coming to you today with a brief but important red pill report. And the subject is sex with the Jabberwocky. Are you sure you're thinking it through? So stay tuned. I'm getting a lot of people writing to me talking about how their husband or wife has insisted and gone ahead with getting the Jabberwocky. And these are people who adamantly refuse to do it. And the question must arise here. Are we really understanding what, oh, and boy, is this difficult to talk about in the new censorship planet that we live on? I'm not so concerned about the vid for the moment, much more concerned about the Vaz, right? The Jabberwocky. And the question is, well, if it does in fact send out all these little bots and spread all of the infectious crapola that is in them, which we now have several doctors showing us through little critters and metals and little devices that are appearing in these slides themselves, then isn't that a sexually transmittable issue? I mean, these are things that often can only be seen on electron microscopes. So they are so infinitesimal that surely they're passing in all the fluids. I wanted to bring up a very unpleasant subject, and that is suddenly not too many people are talking about the sexual transmittability. Don't you love the way I invent words? Of this Jabberwock. So I wanted to just, I think my little PR on this video was, are you thinking clearly? And if you are adamantly against the Jabberwocky, and if you are doing your very best to protect yourself as much as possible, which of course is negligible considering how we are hearing how these robotics can jump and leap, and it's all too frickin' science fiction for me. However, I caution people, it's time to recognize that if your partner has been jabbed foolishly and you still hold to the reality that you refuse to do it by any means, that you don't want this crap in your body, yada yada, then you've got an issue, an issue with regard to sexuality. And boy, hasn't sexuality changed in the last few years. I mean, but in my youth, there wasn't, your life didn't depend on whether or not you had sex with someone because, well, there were some venereal diseases, but they were all treatable. We didn't have super gonorrhea. We had pretty much everything was treatable at the time. Then all these new horrible things emerged. And then, of course, came HIV, AIDS, and suddenly everybody had to be completely, oh my God, rubbered up to have any intimacy. How sad and tragic that the beauty of lovemaking, I'm going to sound like a hopeless romantic here, because of course sex is not only about lovemaking for a lot of people, a lot of other layers that I don't need to get into exist. But anyway, with HIV, with the onset of HIV, which reminiscent of what's happening now, if you consider how it came into being, which I won't go into here because I want to survive. And then suddenly everybody had to be rubbered up to have any sex. And I should think that it would be very terrifying personally that your life depends. I mean, What happens if one of these rubbers, I can't believe I'm talking about this. What happens if one of these sheaths, let's call it that, explodes, which can happen? Then, of course, your life is at risk. So many people have recognized or relate sex to a life-threatening endeavor. Oh my God. What I just wanted to come home to you today with for just a brief moment is the question that you need to ask yourself. And that is, if your partner has, or anyone else that you're deciding to enjoy intimacy with, oh, but can you even do that? Because are they even allowed to go in your house? As I remember in England, you can't have any encounter with anyone unless they're in your bubble. I believe that the Jabberwock will be in the bodily fluids so that kissing even is going to transmit it, but sexual transmission, and of course any exchange of blood, is now probably going to be a far greater risk than the HIV. And by the way, scientists are telling us, medical doctors are telling us that there is HIV in the Jabberwocky, but of course that won't be confirmed by anybody, because if we try to do that, they kick us off. You know, guys, I'm doing everything I can to stay positive and to keep pushing out the message that we're going to get through this. And we will. But it's going to be a new world, as I've said, and it doesn't, and how that looks, I still don't understand. I am glad I'm getting older. I wouldn't want to be 20 years old in this world. Oh my God. Okay, so just that was the thought for the day. Think about sex with the Jabberwocky. And perhaps you can approach your partner who is determined to do this with that issue, that since they're being bullied or hypnotized or coerced into doing it, then they have to know the consequence, which is probably the question of whether or not you're having any future sexual encounter. Because if you are, personally, I believe you might as well have gotten jabbed. So that's a quickie for you. I want you to think about it, because I think our lives are at stake here, and every decision is extremely important. And this one is, let's bring it out into the open. Is it not the case that sex with someone who has had the Jabberwocky means sex with the Jabberwocky? And therefore, these little critters, which you've heard about the hydro, you've seen the pictures. I mean, Dr. Carrie Madej, wowzer. You've seen the, if you're paying at all attention, you've seen the images of the little metallic sharp shards and other debris that they're finding in the vase. And you have to make some decisions. Personally, I say, well, personally, it looks like the sexual journey of my life is over. I think I kind of completed that segment of my life. And to be honest, I certainly would not be interested. I truly can say this. I personally would not be interested in an intimate situation where these issues, HIV, Jabberwocky, all these diseases, would have to be considered. Please be careful out there, people. Every decision matters. Right now, we need to see what's going to happen. They're dropping like flies. That's all I know. And I'm talking about the Jabberwocked. I mean, it's like every day, sports, soccer players, racers, football players, basketball, they're dropping on the courts and on the fields, dropping dead. Heart attacks. We're seeing heart attacks in 5-year-olds. All of them have had the Wocky. But the question again remains, do you think it's a great idea to exchange bodily fluids with someone who has had it? Because someone who hasn't had it, well, okay, you might get the vid. And as we know, it's 99.9 something curable. So if you are allowed or manage to get your hands on a few of the remedies that we know work, remedies that doctors are being stripped of their licenses for suggesting or for using in treatment, then, it's not that much to worry about. But once your loved one gets the JABBERWOCKY, then as far as I'm concerned, this is the greatest all-time, and by great I don't mean wonderful, I mean the hugest, the biggest sexually transmitted problem that we are facing as a civilization. So think about that, please, because I care about you. This is, after all, I am the mama bear, and I'm doing my best to help people stay safe. Safe, what does that mean anymore? Okay, that's all I have to say. By the way, a lot of you are asking me about my necklace, the Syrian seal. So I don't have any more of the silver ones available. Why? They cost a fortune to get produced now, and because of the price of silver, and shipping is pretty much impossible because of cost. I don't want to rip anybody off, but by the time you pay for insurance or charge for insurance and ridiculous shipping, which always seems to get delayed and is just a drama, and the price of silver, it just wasn't feasible for me. But I do have the copper, and you know what? I mean, I hate to try to sell anybody, but I feel this is a very powerful protection device, and I don't ever give my power away to a device or a talisman or anything like that. However, I wear the Syrian seal every single moment of my life. I have it under the mattress at the power chakra. I have it placed also at the entrances of my door, pointing out, with a little crystal sitting on top of it. And, I guess I do believe that it is a powerful protection device. So I have them available. I'll put the link up here. Grab yourself a Syrian seal. I don't have that many left. And given the global shipping and production problem, I'm not quite sure I'll be producing them anymore. We keep trying. I said this some months ago, and I got another shipment of them. And I'll keep trying to do my best because everybody seems to want to have them. But it's getting harder and harder to do these things. So if you want a Syrian seal, grab one now. All right, guys. Safe sex has a whole new meaning. This is Patricia Cori, provoking thought, asking you to talk to your partner. You've got a stray partner that wants to, and by stray I mean wants to stray over to the side of obedience, which is, by the way, being blasted out more than ever. It's just amazing what's happening in Australia and everywhere else, but I have to be careful what I say here. So, read between the lines. The question remains, do you understand that now you're talking about probably the worst, most dangerous sexually transmitted disease? Let's call it a disease. The sexual transmission of the JABBERWOCKY. Pick your poison. Okay, guys, take care. This is Patricia Cori signing out for now. I'll be back soon. I got some interesting things lined up, and I'm doing my best to keep coming to you. And thank you all for keep asking me to, when's the next video? When am I going to come out? I'm really, really busy. I'm writing a new book. It's difficult, this book, because it's one of those things that I know is going to put me in the spotlight as far as all the things you're not supposed to say. But then do I ever not say what I think I need to say regardless of that? So anyway, I'm writing it and doing a myriad of other things, but always have time to come to you to share my thoughts. This is Patricia Cori, loving you, signing out for now.